Hello, this is Dear Psychopomp. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. On Dear Psychopomp, we discuss topics centered around the living aspect of death. Our guest today is Tony Lynch. Not only is he my long-lost older brother, he is the founder of the nonprofit Memories of Us Limited, Grief Support for Men, the Global Grief Network. He's host of the podcast Grief Let's Talk About It, host of the Global Grief Conference, program designer, and editor-in-chief of Grief Talk magazine. Tony, thank you so much for being on my show today. Would you like to start by telling listeners a little bit about you?
Yes. Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me on your show. I'm really excited for this. For everyone, I am Tony Lynch, and as my dear friend said, and little sister, um, I am a men's grief coach. Have been for like the last 6 years, and I started my nonprofit Memories of Us in 2021, which led me to starting the Global Grief Conference in 2022, and it's been going 3 years now. During that course of time, I have been a guest speaker. I've written two books. I started my magazine, which is Grief Talk magazine, and been helping men across the world find paths of healing and paths of dealing with their unresolved trauma, their mental health, and also their addictions.
Wow, that is amazing work.
Thank you.
Can we talk a little bit about the struggles specifically that men encounter when they're trying to navigate through grief?
Well, the biggest struggle is we're taught not to express our emotions. So grief is like a foreign language that it takes a while to understand, right? To be able to learn how to articulate our emotions, but most importantly, how to express them in healthier ways. And so part of what I do is create an atmosphere where men can not only be supported but heard. Um, they begin to express themselves openly without judgment and um, with people around them that actually care about them, other men.
Beautiful. What would you say is the biggest issue right now? We're recording March 2025, and the world is in a little bit on fire right now. And
Yeah.
it's what would be the best first step if there are men out there listening saying, "Okay, I need to get my shit together."
It's surrounding yourself with other men that have gone through something similar. That way, when you do begin to express yourself, there's a big sense of trust that is established and an understanding that you're not alone. So it's like having a grief companion from other men that you're around, right? And these men have gone through the struggles themselves, and they are willing to walk with you in your darkest moments. Jump down there in the hole with you, and walk through the mud with you as you
Mm.
begin to learn how to navigate this world, because it does take a lot of work. And one thing about grief and healing is very revealing. It's like an onion, right? It will begin to peel back the layers. And so having a space around other men who have gone through certain things allows you to let your guard down, right? And be able to express yourself with people who actually understand the language that you're speaking, right? And that is the biggest thing when it comes down to men. For men, grief is like a foreign love language that no one speaks. But I can go around other men who have gone through something similar, and it's the words that we speak that we pick up on that we automatically understand. See, perception versus reality, right? Perception is what you see it may not be always what's going on. So say for instance, if you see a man who's always angry, right? This is our second language. This is our alternative language because from a child we get taught, hey, You know what? You better man up. You better stop that crying. You better
Mm.
stop doing this. And so, what do you think we do? We suck it up and we hold it in, and then we go out. And if we have siblings, we end up picking fights with them. If we have really close friends, we pick fights with them. We end up getting into arguments with people.
Mm-hmm.
This is how men cry. This is one of
Yeah.
the things that people really look past because of what it looks like. Perception versus reality. That man is hurting. This is how we reach out for help. This is how we say, I'm hurting. I don't know how to express it, so I have to cry. And unfortunately, you're the person that's going to catch the blunt of this. And hopefully you understand what I'm doing.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And it's kind of heartbreaking knowing that. I mean, with me growing up, I was told, not to cry in front of people and not to let people see me like that, and to have that tenfold as a
Hmm.
man, be like, you can show exactly zero emotions except for what, happiness and pride.
Hmm.
And I think one of the biggest lessons that I would love to teach is that it takes a certain amount of strength to cry.
Hmm.
It's not a weakness. It's not, a character flaw. It's like, okay, you're human. Sorry.
Right. You said it. We're human beings, right? But some
Mhm.
odd reason, life teaches us, or society teaches us men, that that's not okay. Like,
Mhm.
okay, do you ever hear this phrase? Only the only value that a man has is what we can provide and how we protect. Men, women, well, women, children, and dogs are more valued in a home than men are. So we're
That's true.
expected, right? So, you know what I'm saying? So when we take on that role, we really take on that role because this is what adds value to our lives. This is
Mhm.
what society says you have to be this. And so another aspect of it is that society, people, women, most importantly, will say, "Hey, no, I don't need a weak man. I don't need an emotional person. I don't need someone as
Mhm.
emotional as me." So what in turn, we do most of our stuff in hiding. We go take long drives. We go hide in our garages. We go take long walks. You ever see a man that goes out with his boys to go play basketball? Right? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Hey man, hey, what you doing? Oh man, hey, want to go do some 5-on-5 21 over at the court? Yeah. What you think they out there doing?
Expressing
What you think?
emotions.
Exactly. Because out there on the court and everything, you're around other men. This is
Yeah.
how we get together. We begin to talk, especially when we sit on the bench. Oh man, my old lady, man, she tripping, man. Yeah, man, what's going on? Right?
Yeah.
We can still be masculine because after that we can go out on the court, right? Now
Yeah.
everybody knows what's going on. It's a support system. That's why it takes so long for them to come back home, right? Half the
Mhm.
time when they get done playing the game and everything, hey man, you want to go to the bar, have a beer or something? Yeah, man, let's go sit down. Yeah, they out there talking. They
Mhm.
realize nowadays, now in 2025, and this has been happening. Like I said, I've been doing this 6 years, and when I first started doing this, I was like one of the only men out here providing support for men out here. Nowadays, it's a lot more resources that are popping up for men, right? But there still has to be some sort of balance because for every 100 resources out there for men, there's 2,000 other resources out there for women. So there's the balance, right? There's
Mhm.
an off balance. So when it comes down to finding those resources, we literally have to search for them.
Mhm.
And you'd be lucky if you find someone in your city. You'd be lucky to find, what I'm saying, two places that you can go in your state,
Mhm.
let alone in your country, right? In the UK, there's maybe out of 10 cities, maybe two two places that men can go, and you got to drive an hour, you know what I'm saying, 30 minutes, 45 minutes to an hour to get to that resource, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you spend most of your time driving in a car. You get there and you're only there for maybe about an hour and a half or something like that. And then you have to drive all the way back, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then you're anticipating what you're going to run into when you come home. Because now, if you have a partner or a spouse or someone like that and you have kids, you're not going to be able to express yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But we're making it more normalized for men to be more open because I have a model when I work with these men. Never let someone assume what's going on with you because if they assume, they'll always get it wrong.
Right.
Make sure you articulate what's going on with you so they know how to show up with you. Now, here's the other side of it. A part of the education that I do, I get people who want to know how to create an atmosphere for men to be open, um, and how to invite that person in. First rule is that in order to create this atmosphere, always remember, just because you want to talk doesn't mean that man wants to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Don't force him into a place where you're gonna push him away because that man will block you out. And the first time that you invite that man into your space to be open and vulnerable, just just be quiet. Listen.
Yeah.
Don't make it about you, because first time you do that, you just did the same thing that society has taught us. No one cares about what you're going through. Man up,
Right.
right?
Right.
Suck those emotions up. Don't let don't express yourself. And we learn to, and from there we resort back to what we know is how to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And in a relationship, that's the last thing that you want a man to do is be able to, is learn how to survive that relationship. Because what we're doing in that aspect, and I've done this, and I would learn how to survive, and I will figure out a way to remove myself from that relationship, right?
Right.
Because you've just told me that it's not safe to be able to talk around you. And like most men, and it's really just as simple, most men are looking for a soft place to lay our head. We want to come home to a place to where we don't have to constantly fight,
Mm-hmm.
where it's safe for us. We look for safety because we've been
Yeah.
fighting. Most men have been fighting our whole entire lives. I mean, and think about it. You was taught not to cry around people, not to express your emotions. So it's the same thing. You learn how to survive through there without expressing yourself because of what someone else told you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
then when you get older, you realize that it was a whole bunch of trash, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
hold on. When you go around people, and this is the crazy part, you will go around people 90% of your day that feel the same way that you do. And they're just looking for the next person to open up the doors to be able to talk.
Oh yeah. I encounter that daily.
Right. And it happens so often that
Yeah.
we look past it because we don't want to be the one that is rejected.
Right.
Think about
Well,
that
and
for a minute.
it's
That hurts.
yeah. We want to be accepted and not judged and seen for who
Hmm.
we actually are, and
Hmm.
that's a leap of faith because
Truly
there are
is.
going to be people out there who may judge you because they're dealing with their own fear and their own insecurities.
Hmm.
And I find that since I switched over to active listening, intentionally listening and just staying quiet, the power of silence is amazing. And
Hmm.
I think one of the issues with men versus women with grieving is we're expected to be emotional.
Hmm.
It is socially acceptable for me to cry pretty much anywhere.
Hmm.
And oh, she's just having a moment. But then you see some man in the grocery store crying. No one goes up to him. They're scared. What's he crying about? I don't know. Let's leave him alone.
Mm-hmm.
But if I were to do that, I'd have, like 3 little old ladies coming up and being like, hey, dear, what's up?
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same. And I think as women trying to catch up with men grieve too, it's okay. How can we support them? Because we've been so used to being allowed to show our emotions and talk about our feelings. And so we're over here like, hey, come on in, water's warm, like, let's talk. But the thing that we don't keep in mind is that, the men are trying to catch up and find the language and find the resources and have the same knowledge as it. And, we've had our entire lives to be able to perfect when we can show our emotions, reaching out. It's not a difficult thing. We've had a lot of practice. But for men, I think one of the hardest parts is saying like, okay, like, yeah, I need some help.
That is the hardest part
Yeah.
because most men, and I'm not gonna put most men in this category. I'm going to speak from my own experience. The hardest thing you're absolutely right. The hardest thing I ever did was say that I needed help, but it took over 40 some years,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this is the one thing that I have to remind people, no matter how old you are, when you ask for help, that is the first time that you've asked for help, and then you have X amount of years behind you that you needed help and never received it. So now, if you're thinking that this is going to be an overnight thing, it's not,
Mm-hmm.
because now you still have 20, 30, 40, 50 years of life experience, trauma, mental health damage, being alone,
Mm-hmm.
feeling, just hurt, just downright hurt or addiction that you have to work through.
Yep.
And so it's really hard to ask for help when you don't understand what you need. Most people don't understand what they need. They don't know. You ever hear this phrase, something's wrong with me, but I don't know what I need?
I'm pretty sure I said that last night.
Uh-huh. And then when you go through loss, right? You add that on to everything.
Yeah.
You lose someone that you really cared about. And someone comes up to you, hey man, I'm here to give you, what I'm saying, let me know what you need. How do you know what you need? You've never experienced this before. This is the first time you've entered this realm.
Mm-hmm.
So of course now you're anticipating, because now that those words, hey, let me know what you need. I'm here for you. And then
Mm-hmm.
3 days later, oh man, I'm too busy. I'm sorry I haven't reached out.
Yeah.
How do you know
That's
what you need?
something I see regularly as a death doula. And it is, there are certain levels of support after loss.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first level is, involves your ego. It's like, oh, well, that was just supposed to happen, and heaven has another angel. And people kind
Mm.
of write it off and try to, like, at least, well, at least this, well, at least that. And they minimize your grieving because it makes them uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next level up is a bit more open. It's like, okay, I'm here for you.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you need. And that is a great place to be at. It's a very good starting place. And then if you can get to the next level, it's like, hey, like, are you available on Thursday about 10 o'clock in the morning for grocery delivery?
Mm.
Because when someone experiences a loss of any kind, we're not thinking about food, we're not thinking about hygiene. Our entire life was just turned upside down.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can physically show up for that person and say, hey, do you have half an hour for me to come by?
Mm-hmm.
And then you tidy up for them while they go have a shower.
Can I add to that?
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Why are you asking to show up?
The
Show up.
autonomy is still important.
Yeah, understood.
It's, if they're having a day that they want to sit at home and cry and fill their mouth with whipped cream and watch a sad movie, then absolutely they have to feel
Mm-hmm.
the feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So if you give them options like, okay, 10 o'clock in the morning or noon,
Okay. See, and
you
that's
know?
okay. The way that I think about it is that if I know that you're hurting, coming from a place where I've been deeply hurt by loss, um, I'm a man of my word,
Mm-hmm.
and I know what it's like to be alone because you want someone to pick up the phone. You want someone to stop by your house to come and check on you. And the most hurtful part about it is, and this is the expectations and how we end up hurt more deeply, is that we
Mm-hmm.
expect people to do these things, right? Although you may hear me say, "Ah, man, right now I'm not in place to do these things and this, that, and another." Guess what? I'm that guy. So if Ann was hurting, right? I'm going to respect your space. But if Ann was hurting and I know that Ann is hurting, I know what it's like to have to battle these things alone.
Mm-hmm.
When you look outside your door and I'm knocking on your door, I've already picked up food. I've already got them in my hands, right? And,
Mm-hmm.
and when I got them in my hands, I know that you're not going to leave me outside of that door. You're just excited for me to be at your door than I am excited to be at your door. You're going to let me in. And
Well,
when I
yeah.
come in, yeah, and when I come in, I'm gonna go, hey, sit down. I've bought some food. You know what I'm saying? I got a couple burgers, I got some fries, I got some chicken. You know what I'm saying? I got us a couple pops and everything. And you're gonna be like, well, I got it. No, 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 and sit down. See, in that moment, I know that you need someone to take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need you taking care of me. That's why I took the initiative. I already got groceries. I'm gonna put them in your fridge. Hey, and what do you want? Do you want me to put the spices in? And as soon as you get them, no, 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 just tell me where you want them, right? I'm gonna put them up here. You sit down. Hey, as a matter of fact, you know what? Go find a movie that you want to watch. I need you to go ahead and relax. Put your feet up, and you're gonna be like, but I know, but go ahead and eat some food, okay? I got you.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. You need your favorite blanket? You want a pillow? You want to lay down? That's okay. Here, let me go grab that for you. I don't need you getting up. See, and what I'm doing the whole time when I'm walking through, I'm looking at your laundry. I'm looking at your dishes. I'm looking at the state of your house because I know you haven't left. And I know you're hurting right now. And the
Mm-hmm.
best thing that I can do is take care of you because most of our times we spend 90% of our grieving taking care of other people. Wouldn't it feel nice if
Yeah.
someone just took care of you? Yeah. So hey, I'm gonna put this right here. You go ahead. And while you over there picking out a movie, you're gonna be like, you don't have to do that. I know I don't. And it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do your dishes for you, girl. Where's your soap at? I got you. Right? You know what I'm saying? The laundry. I'm gonna go ahead and get your laundry on out the way for you. All right. Have the cats eating, have the dogs eating. Let me go ahead and take them out for a walk for you. Right? While
Yeah.
all of this stuff is going on, you're gonna be sitting up there and it's going to be a sigh of relief. You may not do it in front of me, but as soon as I walk that dog or something like that, you're going to be like, whew, and you're going to relax a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because everything else is done. I've already mopped your floor. I've already vacuumed everything. I've already got your laundry. And you know what I'm saying? I'm going to go in there and get your bed straight, squared away for you because you might want to go lay down or something like that. And when you do, I'm going to be like, hey, I'll be back later, right? To come and just check up on you and things like that. I'm gonna shoot you a text because I don't want to wake you up if you're sleeping or anything like that. If I don't hear from you, I know that you're sleeping. I'm just gonna let you know that I'm thinking about you, right? So
Mm-hmm.
even after all of that, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna remember that I came through, that somebody does care about you. So now when you really are struggling at that 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning and the silence is getting you,
Mm-hmm.
you I'm looking for the opportunity when Ann goes, hey, I could really use some company right now. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Because I've already opened up the doors for you to be able to to be able to know that I'm reliable. Simon
Mm.
Sinek said, he says when he had a dear friend of his who was struggling and they did not pick up the phone and call him. Now, this is the type of friend that we all need. He got upset. He says, "How dare you deny me the opportunity to come and sit with you in the times
Mm.
that you needed someone the most? I am that person. How dare you deny me that?
Yeah.
How dare you deny me that? Give me the opportunity to come over there and sit with you because I know what it feels like to not have anyone."
Yeah.
Right? Isn't
Yeah.
that worth it? Isn't
I
that a good
remember that
thing?
talk. Yeah.
Right.
I have
Right.
8 minutes for you.
I, yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Don't let every text messages look the same. If I got 8 minutes, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? 8 minutes. I have 8 minutes for you. I will walk out of that meeting. I will stop that podcast. I will stop what
Absolutely.
I have 8 minutes for you. These people can wait. And when I come,
Yeah.
hey, what's somebody needed 8 minutes of my time. And I was going to give it. I didn't want to miss the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I did
That's
not want to
beautiful.
miss the opportunity. There you go. So,
I
you know what I'm
love
saying?
that.
These things right here is things that people think about, but other people never do.
It's true. And it's also, I don't want to be an imposition. I don't want to be a burden. I'm scared to see other people who are grieving because
Hmm.
that reminds me of my own grieving journey. And I just want to add on a little bit for anyone who is also neurospicy, having that ADHD and having someone show up for you, and I'm going to stumble through this a bit because you've just given me a revelation, is if someone wants to show up for you with aggressive love, let go of that control issue. Let go of, oh, I don't want him to see my house like this. Let go of your expectations of
Hmm.
yourself and your ego when someone is trying to help you. Of course,
Hmm.
maintain your boundaries. Always, always. But it's okay to accept help even if you haven't asked for it.
Hmm.
You don't have to ask for it. And by the way, when you show up at my door, be prepared. I'm going to make you watch Cinderella with me.
Cinderella, Pocahontas, whatever,
That's my go-to.
whatever, whatever you want to watch, I'm there. See, that's the whole thing, right? It's not about me.
Mm-hmm.
I came to visit in your space.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's what you need to do, then of course, let's watch them all. Let's watch The Lion King. Let's watch Pocahontas.
Oh.
Let's watch them all, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm there
Mm-hmm.
with you, right?
Yeah.
I'm
You
there
bring the
with you.
popcorn. Yeah.
Right. I got the popcorn. I even got some snacks. I got cupcakes because we may want to eat away our feelings, right? You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? We got cookies. Yeah. We got the popcorn, we got soda pop and all of that good old stuff. What else do we need? Yeah, let's
Mm-hmm.
figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna sit back because for one, here's the biggest and the most important thing that people fail to realize when you go into people's spaces, right? When you get invited into that space, become a visitor. Visit with them.
Yeah.
Just visit with them. You're a visitor. Because it's a huge honor when someone allows you in that space of vulnerability, when they're suffering.
It is.
So
Because it's
be a good visitor.
it's it's stripping away another level and making them
Right.
even more vulnerable because this is their sanctuary. This is where
Mm-hmm.
they feel safe. This is where they can express themselves with their decorations and their animals and their books, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a really good opportunity to get to know someone even better by being in their space.
Mm-hmm.
And for myself, like I said, I was diagnosed with ADHD in my mid 30s. I don't have a lot of people over. I'm a homebody. I get very easily overwhelmed around a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to let someone into my house would be difficult for me. So what would you recommend for people who are like that, who are like, okay, I would love the help. That would be great, but this makes me really anxious.
Know to have boundaries, right?
Okay.
You look, I'm an introvert, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like a person like myself, I may seem outgoing. I really am not. I'm a homebody as myself, right? I don't do well with a lot of company. I don't,
Mm-hmm.
right? I love sitting by myself. I love the quietness. I love, just being able to just sit with whatever I need to sit with. And so when I do get people that come over, I know I know when to say, hey, right now this is too much for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know how to say, and that person, the people that I'm around, you have to make sure that they're respectful of that as well. Well, they can look at you and go, you know what? Okay, let me know what you need, and I'm just a phone call away, and things like that.
Yeah.
That's what, even with a person with ADHD, sometimes you need that,
Yep.
right? And it's okay, right? It's
Yeah, for
okay.
sure. It's it's hard. I always say it's super easy to create a boundary.
Hmm.
It's very difficult to enforce the boundary, especially when it's some of your favorite people. So
And if they're
how
your
would
favorite, go ahead, go
yeah,
ahead. Go ahead.
how would you phrase it to a friend if you were feeling that anxiety? How would you tell me to enforce the boundary when I need some space? Because it would make me so anxious
Hmm.
to be like, all right, this has been great, but I am about to have a panic attack. It's
Exactly
hard
what you
to
just
admit that.
Right, right. Well, if you're feeling that way, right, you're going to admit it, right? Because the last thing that you want to do is put yourself in a situation where it can accelerate what you're feeling, right?
Hmm.
And if it's some of your favorite people that know that you struggle with ADHD and anxiety, and you're easily overwhelmed, those people will understand. You
Hmm.
never have to explain to people that understand what you're going through. They're going to look at you and go, "Okay, Ann, hey,
Right.
you go ahead and get yourself some rest, right? I'm only a phone call away. You let us know if you need anything." I can almost guarantee you this, regardless of what Ann is going through, when those people leave, you're going to remember what they said. You're going to remember that they did show up for you, right?
Hmm.
And the next
Hmm.
time you're going to look forward to it, right? And you're going to kind of ease yourself into it because you're going to like the company.
Hmm.
You're going to know what it feels like to be taken care of. And you're going to go, man, I like that. I
Hmm.
like that. Let me just pick up the phone and call. Let me just shoot a text message. Hey, right now I'm about to throw on a movie. Would you like to come over and watch this movie with me? That
Hmm.
person's gonna go say, yeah, I would, right? And it may
Hmm.
just be just that movie. And then afterwards, you're gonna go, hey, I'm feeling kind of overwhelmed right now. That person's gonna go, hey, thank you for allowing me to come sit with you and watch this movie with you. If you ever
Hmm.
want to do it again, you let me know, right? They're baby steps,
Right.
but it's the feeling that you get when those individuals are around that's going to help you move through those baby steps. And next time, it may be a movie and something to eat, right?
Right. Right.
And then the next time, it may be, what I'm saying, a movie, a conversation, and something to eat. And then
Yeah.
the next time it may not even be a movie, but like, hey, would you like to go take a walk in the park?
Hmm.
Yeah, sure, right? Get you out into some fresh air. Everything is intentional.
Right.
Everything is steps. It's just like when you're understanding or trying to maneuver through your grief and things like that, you're going to take baby steps. You're going to learn how to trust what your body needs, what your heart needs, and what your mind is trying to do with you, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then eventually it becomes one of those things like I like hanging out. This makes me feel good.
Yeah.
And you begin to slowly but surely, you know what I'm saying, walk through those as you need.
Mm-hmm.
Not everything needs to happen at one time. It doesn't.
Yeah. That's especially in our society of instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
We're all looking for the life hacks and the easy ways to do the things, and I think it's it's such a good conversation because I'm realizing, I'm still masking around some of my favorite people.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that I need to work on with my self trust and, feeling my self worth and working on that self love.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a constant thing that you need to work on. And if you're working on that while you're grieving, grieving physiologically changes you.
Mm-hmm.
It changes your brain chemicals. It changes your nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to understand that and know that and be like, okay, I need to relearn to trust my body and trust my mind because nothing makes sense right now.
And that's okay,
And
right?
that's okay.
Yeah, that's
So
okay.
what I'm wondering what you do in your grief to kind of ground yourself and bring you back to yourself. How do you remind your heart of the song it sings?
I've learned to sit within the hurricane or the tornado of my grief, right?
Mm-hmm.
After I learned what it was, and I have a relationship with it. That was the first thing I did, is that I developed a very intimate relationship with my grief because I realized it wasn't going anywhere. But it was something about it. And I don't recommend this for other people. I would say for other people, go surround yourself with other people. Go find your tribe. Go find the support that you need. Surround yourself with people who will love on you, speak life over top of you, into you, speak love over top of you and into you. But also make sure that their actions match their words,
Mm-hmm.
right? Be around people that understand, who have walked that path before, that will sit back while you're struggling in the dark and reach out a hand to you and go, hey, all you got to do is grab my hand.
Mm-hmm.
I'll walk with you. So for me, I've learned to sit within the confines of my grief and begin to pick out the things that it wanted to teach me. See, I'm a student of grief. Always will be. Love everything about it. And that's how I fell in love with it, right? I fell in love with it because I realized that it was asking me to strip everything that I thought that I knew in order to learn what it was trying to give me, to sacrifice my comfort for the discomfort of the
Mm-hmm.
safety that it was going to develop for me, to see the other side, but also understand the lines, the blurred lines that people have a tendency of putting barriers around. And I learned to accept that and walk in between and go, oh, I see this over here. So every time my grief shows up, I know to center myself with it, to look at what is poking out and grab on it and go, oh, I need to work on this.
Mm-hmm.
But again, this is my own self journey of being who I am in this space of grief. Because One thing I want to be is the best at what I do. I'm not trying to be better than anyone else. I just want to be the best at what I do in this
Mm-hmm.
field. I want to learn how to have conversations. I want to learn the different aspects of grief and what comes along with that from everybody I encounter. And the reason being, I don't want to ever misread what someone is going through. I want to be able to show up and go, I've seen this before.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just sit here, not trying to dictate the direction that it needs to go in, but allow this person to take me on their journey as they bounce through their timeline of life.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be there with them when they're that child, right? I want to be there with them when that little child shows up and begins to want to kick and fight because someone hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be in that moment where, you know what I'm saying, where they may be a young teenager and they had that first heartbreak. Maybe the first time that, they got into um abusive relationship. I want to be there with them.
Yeah.
That's important to me.
Is is that important to you because that's what you needed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was that kid that didn't have anybody when I went through childhood molestation,
Mm.
right? Because no one was there to save me.
Yeah.
No one showed up and said everything was going to be okay. You know what I was told? Oh boy, men don't do that to other men. You need to man up and learn how to protect your sister and go out here into the world, and know how to survive. So I did. I learned how to survive. I
Mm-hmm.
learned how to protect myself. I learned how to live a double life to keep people from seeing the other side of me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I knew how to be that straight A student in school, right? I knew how to be my sister's big brother.
Yeah.
I knew how to protect her. I knew how to be my mom and dad's son. I knew how to be that grandson or that nephew or that cousin.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other side, I knew what I needed to do in order to survive. So I learned from the people. I learned from the killers and the drug dealers, the pimps, the hustlers, the stick up kids. I learned from them
Yeah.
on how to survive in this world, right?
Yeah.
And once I realized that on the streets there was no rules, oh, I can accept that a lot more because now I have a very violent side to me. And the biggest thing that my mom did is that my mom understood that I was not violent, but she wanted to put me in martial arts. So I got into martial arts
Mm-hmm.
and I loved it, right? And so I was like, I can use this over here. Okay. And so, I did that and, I became a ninth degree black belt, competed competitively in martial arts. And then when
Wow.
I moved away, I started boxing. I started teaching karate. I started taking kung fu. And I did that for a couple of years. And then when I moved again, I got into MMA, right? Because of the sheer violence of it. I love the fact that I could be violent and not get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's the difference between that and what I chose to do on the streets. One had rules, the other one didn't. But see, now if I could keep the people on the streets from seeing what I learned from people who taught me, I can use that in a way to where I can inflict a lot of damage on you and no one's going to stop me.
Yeah.
So I understood that balance, right? And it served me well. I tell people this all the time. I'm a battle dog, right? And what I mean by that, I could not have seen my life any other way than being able to go to war, right? I needed to be able to be in some sort of war, whether it was on the streets or on the map.
Yeah.
That's just part of who I am. I'm a battle dog, right? And that served me well because what it did, it taught me how to be a better protector, right? It taught
Mm-hmm.
me to defend myself. It taught me to stand up for myself. It taught me discipline. But most importantly, it taught me what I was capable of doing, which in turn, as I got older and became more mature, well, I became a good man.
You are a good man.
And well, and but that's what the definition of a good person is. A good person is the one who's capable of doing extreme amount of violence, but chooses not to. And the
A
only
true
way to be
strength.
that, right, that's true strength, right? But how do you think that's how we protect our families? If
Hmm.
someone was to come into my home and try to rob us, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to protect my home.
I'm gonna get out the popcorn and watch you kick some ass.
Right. It's just like if I was going down the street and I saw a young man or someone snatches a lady's purse, what do you think I'm going to do to that person that just took that purse? I do have the capability of catching that individual and I'm going to break his arm and I'm going to return that purse back to that lady. Why? Because
Hmm.
that's the way I'm built.
Oh, yeah, you'd make sure she gets home safe and everything.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
That's my job.
because
That's
you
what I
care.
was built for because I care, right?
Hmm.
But but that's what makes me a good man. I'm not perfect whatsoever, but that's what makes me a good man because I'm willing to go out and protect those who cannot protect themselves. But it took me a
Hmm.
long time of being very destructive in that aspect too, right?
Right, right. So, what do you think is the biggest lesson that grief has taught you? If you could distill it down to one word, one sentence, what is the biggest lesson, the biggest thing you've taken away?
To be the change that I want to see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And let me just explain. I know what it feels like to have your world torn apart.
Mm-hmm.
I know what it's like to be an orphan. I know what it's like to be homeless. I know what it's like to have your innocence taken away from you. I know what it's like to lose almost everyone that you've ever loved and cared about in this world. But I also know the importance of human connection.
Mm-hmm.
And so, with that comes deep empathy and understanding. And if I can give that to someone to be of service to other people, that is, it was worth it, right?
Hmm.
Because again, we're when we're allowed to walk people to that next destination, our goal and our job is to leave them better than what we found them,
Yes.
right? Because for one, you know, they're coming to you because they're hurting, they're damaged, you know, and things like that. Wouldn't it be good to see someone smile again, to
Hmm.
share a laugh with you, because they've given you the honor and the privilege of letting you walk with them in their most vulnerable moments? Isn't that precious? Isn't that worth it? Right?
Yeah.
To go and to do it without any sort of expectation. To
Yeah.
go, I have something inside of me that I'm willing to give you free of charge.
Yeah.
And to go take from me what you need. Don't worry about all take from me what you need. I give it to you freely.
Hmm.
And just to get them to a place and they have to go on their finish their journey. They have to finish their path, right? And to
Mm-hmm.
part ways with them and just go, they're going to remember me. They may not remember my name. They may not even remember my face, but they will always remember the way that I made them feel. And to
Absolutely.
be able to give them the courage for someone else that comes along that may be going through something similar, they may go, man, I want to be that for them,
Yeah.
right? And they do it because again, it's a give on both sides. I give this to you, you
Mm-hmm.
give this to them, I'm walking with you to your next destination as I pass through this place called Earth.
Yeah.
Because
Being
eventually
a
I gotta, right,
yeah, being a part of something bigger than yourself.
right. Because we're
I'm
all going
just
home,
I'm
right?
just going to pause you real quick.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So, I think that's one of the big secrets in life about why we're here. We are here to
Yes.
be a part of something bigger than ourselves
Mm-hmm.
because, you see, all the rich people, they have so much money and they're miserable.
Right.
And then you see people with community and their tribe and their contributions working together, and they're happy
Mm-hmm.
because they're a part of something bigger than themselves.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's intense.
it's getting past the smoke screen, right? It's getting
Yeah.
past all the things that life has thrown in front of you. The biggest takeaway in grief that I want people to really truly understand and why I love it so much. It is the one true thing that connects us as human beings.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything wrapped up into this nice little messy ball, right? It helps people connect on such a deep level that it will blow your mind. But if you allow it and you really are a student of it, it could teach you so much, not just about yourself and not just about other people, but it can teach you so much about the universe and about the world, what it
Yeah.
offers you, right? And how it changes in all of these different things.
Hmm.
It's like a messy canvas, right? And you may get this canvas and it has all of these different colors on top of there, but until you really start to look at it and begin to move the colors around, those dark grays and those whites and those blues and things like that, you never really truly see the portrait that it's trying to paint of you. It's everything that you've ever gone through,
Yeah.
everything,
That's beautiful.
in this big old ball of colors. See it for
Well,
what it is.
you can add new layers of paint,
Mm-hmm.
but that
But you
doesn't
don't
take
have
away
to.
the colors underneath.
Right. You
And
don't
you don't
right.
have to.
You
Yeah.
don't
It'll
have
be a
to.
part of you, but
Right.
you don't have to hide it.
Right. You can always add to it. You
Oh
don't have to
yeah.
you don't have to cover color across it. Everything that you've ever gone through, you put it together, and there's this beautiful portrait because you get to a place in your healing and it reveals who you are.
Hmm.
It tells a story. It tells the story of your life, right? And
Yeah.
as you begin to get older, you may add in a new line or something like that, right? And it's like getting to the beginning of who you are,
Hmm.
right? You've had your whole entire life to put all of this stuff together. Now, start
And go.
and go. You're right, right? You know what I'm saying? Because, who you were in the beginning is not who you are now,
Yes.
right?
You are not
So
what you went through.
you're not what you went through, but it does tell an amazing story if you wanted to. And I think that's the part of communicating effectively and having these conversations because it should be something normalized. And that's part of my goal in doing the things that I do. I want to normalize the conversations around death, dying, and grief. I want to know about your addiction. I want to know
Hmm.
what you're struggling with in your mental health because I want to know how to be effective
Hmm.
in your space, not to take over your space because it's not mine, but to be effective and be respective. in your space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Until you get to a point to where you can say, man, I think I'm good right now. Okay. Hey, I appreciate, thank you for the honor and the privilege to allow me to be a part of this journey with you, right?
Yeah.
And then we go to the next person. That's been my whole journey since I've started this, but it's also been my whole entire life.
Yeah.
So nothing in my life was ever wasted. Nothing. I appreciate it. I appreciate the experience. I appreciate being there to hold my friends' hands when they passed away. I appreciate being a son. I appreciate being a big brother to my younger brother before he passed away. I appreciate being a father, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's something to not be taken for granted because there's people out there that don't get that.
Yeah.
Anybody ever think about the child who's raised up in foster care that never got the chance to meet their parents? Or the person right now who just, buried their younger sibling or their older sibling? Anybody ever thinks
Mm-hmm.
about that? What about that young kid um, that's being sex trafficked right now?
Yeah.
You ever wonder what they're going through, how unsafe they feel, what they're just what they're about to endure
Yeah.
forever long? No one ever thinks about that, right? So when you can look at those things and you can have gratitude for the hurt that you've gone through,
Mm-hmm.
you can pinpoint that kid that's out there struggling right now, that's being abused,
Mm-hmm.
the one that's out there struggling in addiction, and you could go up to them with a sense of understanding, like, hey, you may not need me now, but just so you know, I see you.
I'm here.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Here's some information if you ever need to get a hold of me. You might not even want to call me right now, right? Because
Yeah.
you haven't hit your version of rock bottom. But when you do, give me a call, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna show up once in a while. So I have a couple friends who are veterans right now who are homeless out on the streets. I make it a point to go through and find them, and I take them food, non-perishables, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I go over there and I sit with them, no matter what they where they at or anything. Hey man, how you doing today? They invite me into their tents. Oh Tony, I'm just out here, just living life and doing this and other. Is there anything that you need? But if even if you don't need it, here's some food for you.
Mm-hmm.
Here's
Mm-hmm.
about here's 40, $50 to put in your pocket, man. Go ahead and do that. I know what you're gonna do with it anyway. I'm not here to judge you. Here you go. I have it. Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I don't need that. But just do me a favor. Whenever you do need something, come find me so I can help you. And I'm gonna keep doing this so you know that somebody out here cares. Because everybody that you knew that you thought that cared about you walked away from you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna let you know not everybody's the same. It's quick we're quick to judge everybody because of these things, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
quick to say, yeah, man, like this, that, another, and now I know that I have to establish trust with you, and that's what I want to do, right? Not to hurt you, but just let you know that it's okay. It's okay to trust people, you know.
Yeah. That's huge.
Yeah.
Trust is the foundation of any relationship.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have trust, nothing else is going to stick.
Mm-hmm.
And with everything that you said, I just want to let you know that I appreciate you,
Thank you.
and I see you, and I see your gigantic heart and your beautiful soul,
Hmm.
and just thank you so much. If everything in my life led up to this moment so that you and I could meet and have these amazing discussions, I'm so grateful for that.
And so am I.
Hmm.
So am I. It
And
means a lot.
oh, oh, you.
It does. It does mean a lot because you've given me the honor and the privilege to be able to come on here and share my journey and my knowledge and things
Hmm.
like that. And so people don't really see that part of it, of how it can be a beautiful thing to be invited to do these things because you didn't have to,
Hmm.
right? And I never want to take that for granted or, look past this opportunity because I'm obligated. My gift obligates me to be of service to other people.
Hmm.
It's like a contract, right? I have to fulfill my contract.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of inspiring and getting the word out there, do you want to let our listeners know the names of your books and how they can find you?
Oh yes, yes. Well, let me see if I can get it in. Oh, Men Grieve Too, which is anthology. This is my second book that came out. They can find that on Lulu. Just go to lulu.com, look for Tony Lynch. They can find the book there. And this book here, Relentless, Empowering Stories of Overcoming Adversity, is my first anthology. This book actually went international bestseller. They can find this on Amazon. And when my other books come out, I'll be able to get get that out there for other people. People can. I have 4 volumes of my magazines that's going to be coming out and everything, so people can go to my website, which is www.mensgriefsupport.org, and they can be able to download the magazine and read some amazing articles, find events that are going on in there, around the world, other resources like podcasts, things like that that they can tune in to as well. They don't necessarily have to come to mine, but also, we have a new segment in there called Letters to Loved Ones, where
Hmm.
people are sharing stories and poems and you know that they've written to their loved ones, and they are open and vulnerable to put them in there, and to encourage people to um, share share your experience with people, share your emotions, but most importantly, share your story, right? Um, because there's nothing more powerful than saying a person's name or being able to share in that journey of other people's stories, you know?
Hmm.
So we do a
Hmm.
lot of those things. And if you know men out there that are looking for a group to come to, I just finished my program Resilience. Actually, I've been finished it. This is my second time, which is a 12-week program. And we do it virtually, we do it online as well as in person. So we make it easy for people to come and be a part of it. And it's a program help designed to help men navigate this world of grief, trauma, mental health, addiction, and hold themselves accountable as we begin the healing process.
Hmm. What an amazing gift you give. I'll
Thank you.
make sure to add all the links and everything in the show notes so that people can follow you and subscribe and get to healing. And I just want to say thank you so much for being on my show. It's an honor, it's a privilege, and you know, I love you. You're loved. You're awesome.
And I love you too. Thank you for this amazing opportunity. Thank you.